Well, warm welcome everybody. I am Monica with Thriving Your Body. And if you're a woman or a man navigating chronic illness, confusing symptoms, or maybe your body just feels really hard to understand, I think that you may appreciate this video. Have you ever been told, just listen to your body? And you've heard that sentence and really didn't know how to do it. Well, that certainly happened to me. A lot of therapists and healers and maybe YouTube presenters will say, just listen to your body. And I honestly didn't know what to do and how to do it. It was very frustrating for me. So, today I want to actually discuss this topic and give you some simple steps to make it simple and easy and actually benefit from this ability to connect and listen to your body if you're going through a chronic illness or confusing diagnosis. So by the end of this video, you get some simple tips on how to start and also a way forward. All right, let's begin. So again, there is a problem here. When we are told, listen to your body, that advice really is not giving us much direction because we have never been told how to do it. So body literacy, or listening to your body in simple terms, is simply an ability to notice, name, and respond to your body's internal signals. And those signals can be, for example, sensations of hot and cold, tension, hunger, level of energy, ease or unease, maybe a sense of anxiety, all those different symptoms or sensors that you get from your body, even when you're not listening to it. So, it is a skill to listen to your body. It's not just an instinct. We're not really taught in childhood how to do it. We have to develop that skill. So it's not going to be that difficult, I promise. So, the problem I think that we are facing is that most of us have been taught to override those signals as if they didn't really matter. Because really what we're told is what matters is your results on your tests and medical diagnosis. It's not really important what your body is telling you right now in this moment. So over time, we just learn to discard it and not pay attention. And for those of you with complex conditions, with complex diagnosis, on top of everything, those signals are often louder, more confusing, and also harder to decode because there's been years of trying to shut them down, shut the pain, shut the discomfort down to simply survive, right? So again, let's talk about those major reasons why disconnection from the body happens and why it is so difficult to actually listen to the body and understand what it's telling us. So we are facing, years of pushing through pain just to function, just to survive, being told that our symptoms were in our head, they were not important, maybe they were exaggerated. A lot of medical gaslighting, having your experience being dismissed, or, practitioners who meant well, but they just couldn't explain the symptoms, so they told you it's just all in your head, or maybe it's not relevant to what's actually going on. And on a bigger scale, we do live in a culture that rewards productivity, rewards pushing through, rewards just being always on top of things and pushing the body down and not really listening to it. So question, how actually are we going to know how to listen to our body if the circumstances really never made it easy for us? And, another issue that I think is worth mentioning is that trauma responses, and this can be medical trauma or accidents, incidents, disease, illness, make our nervous system learn to tune out our body. And it's a form of protection. The nervous system's tuning out the sensations and making us disconnect because it's just too much to handle. And I think if you're going through chronic pain, if you're going through chronic illness, you probably can relate to that. So the key message here is that disconnection from your body was often a survival strategy. It wasn't your failure. it wasn't some sort of deficiency. And often, I would have those moments with clients where suddenly they say, wow, in the middle of the treatment or the session, they just open their eyes perhaps and just say, wow, I've never realized that I was completely disconnected from my body, because now they actually got a glimpse of what it feels like to connect. And that's a beautiful moment. It may not be pleasant, but it actually helps us to move forward in our healing. And I would actually venture to say it's probably the most important step in our healing journey, to start to listen to our body. So definitely we need to normalize the fact that you may feel disconnected. It's not your fault. You're not broken. You were just conditioned that way. And a lot of circumstances and a lot of situations in your life likely led you to feel disconnected. So do not blame yourself, but let's get to work and let's figure out how to actually start to honor our bodies and listen to them in a simple way. And I promise it's not dramatic, it's not mystical. It starts with those small, quiet moments of just simply noticing just even the smallest little things. Okay? So for example, let's talk about what body literacy really looks like in everyday life. For example, noticing tension in your jaw before you realize you're stressed. So you may just be spending a day just actually focusing on your jaw and wondering, hey, am I tensing my jaw? All right. And then you relax it and just feel, wow, the stress is actually easing up. All right. Maybe catching a drop in energy before it becomes a crash. So you're not waiting until you completely crash, so you're on the floor or in the bed and not able to do anything. You're just feeling that little dip. Ooh, what's happening? And that can be a sign for you to stop and maybe reset. Maybe recognizing the gut feeling of no before your brain catches up. So in simple terms, sometimes maybe somebody offers you something. Maybe they invite you to go out for dinner with them, but you're really tired. And the gut feeling is like, no, I really want to stay home. But your brain then pushes you, you have to go because it's a social obligation. So you go, you come back. Next day, you're completely exhausted. You did not get your night's sleep. And you're suffering because of that. But your body already knew that gut feeling was there. So tuning into those little signals will be the first step. And it's not going to be perfect. It's not about getting it all right away. It's just choosing a few different steps, a few different signals that your body gives you to pay attention to in each day. All right? So definitely we're not trying to become perfect body listeners overnight. We're building a relationship. Right? If you meet a new friend, maybe you met somebody, you're not going to become so close right away because you don't know that person, but you know that you want to be friends with them because there is something about them. Your gut is telling you, yeah, I like that gal, I like that guy, and let's start to build a relationship. Let's start to learn about each other. Well, today I want to invite you to think about your body that way. Just somebody that you just met and your gut feeling is telling you, hey, you know what? It would be great to actually start to become friends. So let's look at some very simple beginner practices. So one of them I would like you to consider is once a day, even just in the morning before getting up, simply ask your body and say, body, what are you noticing right now? Simple question. Do not judge it. Do not edit it. So imagine you're opening your eyes and you're asking your body, what are you noticing this morning? And the body is giving you maybe a noise in your stomach. All right. Or maybe a yawn. Oh, right? So that's body language. It doesn't have to come in words. And the body is always communicating in all those little things it does. We just don't listen. So when you start in the morning by asking directly for an answer, you're setting yourself up for a day that will be much more open to communicating with your body. So, let's bring it back to the core message of what I wanted to share with you today. Disconnection from your body makes sense, given so many of us went through, a lot of medical trauma, a lot of difficulty, with being listened to, a lot of pain, discomfort, illness, all those things that actually pushed us away from our body. But we also grew up in cultures where, pushing on and being productive no matter what is really highly valued. So it doesn't mean, though, that reconnection with the body is not possible. What happens is that we have to begin with small steps, with curiosity, not with force. We're not trying to bring back that old paradigm of just pushing through and forcing through, right? We want to take one little step at a time. So I want to invite you to be gentle with yourself today, but start with those little steps. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, actually pose that question to your body. Body, hey, what are you feeling right now? And just be open to the language of the body. It may come as movement, it may come as a sound, it may come as a sensation. Take it, note it, and say thank you. All right? So if you are curious about more of those practices and how to expand on that simple little step, I want to invite you to read my article that I put in here in the comments. It takes you step by step through those simple body literacy techniques and very simple actionable steps. So please read it. If you feel an inkling to, share it with your friends who may also need it. And in the comments, tell me what actually worked for you and what else would you like to learn. All right, it was a pleasure speaking with you today. Monica, thrive with your body, and until later, thank you.